Hello, good evening, and welcome to another edition of CantinaMX Podcast. It is Tuesday, January 25, 2018. Glad to have you with us. My name is John Jagoot, your host here at the CantinaMX Podcast. Weekly chat about the world of soccer with the focus on Liga MX, but we touch all topics here on the Liga on the CantinaMX Podcast. So we're happy that you guys are joining us now live on YouTube. And also happy that you're listening to this downloaded version from the podcast center, which you can do at iTunes and also at Google. You can follow us on Twitter at Cantina_MX, Cantina_MX_pod. On Twitter, of course, like us on Facebook. And if you can subscribe to this YouTube page that you're listening to right now, you'll be notified as to when there is new content on the page. Well, we have a big show to get to tonight. We are waiting on our guests from Pancho Villa's Army that are going to be giving us the lowdown at the what from Pancho Villa's Army next week in San Antonio as Mexico gets ready to play their first friendly of the year against Bosnia and Herzegovina. So they have to play two countries at once next week in San Antonio down at the Alamo Dome. And we'll also be talking to Daniel Forrestine tonight. He's a friend of ours, lives up in Long Island, and he was for Metro Stars and the Red Bull team, Red Bull New York, in the New York area. And of course, he is one of our contacts, someone that we'd like to talk to when it comes to matters of U.S. soccer. So he'll be joining us a little later this evening as well. And of course, we're going to talk about the big call of the big list today. Can't forget about the big list and get the pearl clutching out after we talk about that. And then we'll finish up with a little Liga MX because we've had results this week. There are some fans that were certainly puffing their chest out after this past weekend's games. I know that some fans more than others, it seems like. They do always come out of the woodwork when their team wins. We'll talk about that here on the CantinaMX Podcast. But before we do all that, we have to introduce our panel that joins us. And right now I am being – it's not fair, frankly, that they're just the balance of Calis that we have on the show. It's teetered once again to the California way. So there's two Calis that are on right now. One in Escondido. Daniel Preciado joins us. Daniel, how are you?
Doing good, John. You sound a bit somber, man. Is this because Pumas landed themselves on L'Equipe's worst jerseys of the year?
Time? That is frankly, well, it's French, so they.
I mean, including Leon's jersey, I can get it. And I'm surprised that Santos didn't make it with their huge Soriana, but I think going with changing the color scheme maybe helped. But
it's funny because last year some publication had thought that the Pumas had the second best the best looking for uniform in the entire planet.
So I'm assuming really how much
can? Well, yeah, of course not. I mean, but that's what I'm saying is that Pumas' uniform is always very nice. I mean, how much can you change the Pumas? You basically just changing. Right, or the shirt. That's all you can do with a Puma shirt. If they when they start messing with the actual Puma itself, then we have problems. But so I mean, to me, it's just a very classy. It's just a very classy uniform, and they were doing homage to their college football team. So if France football, whoever it is, doesn't like it, ça risque, mais va te faire. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So good to have you on, Dan. I know you're one of the ones that are puffing out their chests.
Just a bit.
Your Santos, not only did they win over the weekend in the Liga, but then they stomped all over Toluca in Copa MX. Dan, you've had a 2-win week. Your medium shirt proudly this week, Dan.
Yep, I'm greasing my belly to slide into that medium. Wear it proudly for a change because last season I was just getting shakes of the head.
Season was the season for the double X.
But I mean, like I said, the stain, the stench of the Chepo has lifted. The ship has righted itself. And yeah, it looks like they're in a good position to make Liguilla this season.
You are bringing it, Dan. You are bringing not only the good Santos talk, but the anti-Chepo talk at the same time.
I have to jump in there, John. I have to jump in there because
Joel Aceves joins us also from California. Joel, how are you, sir?
Yes, sir. He's attacking my gallo right there, man.
He does it to my gallo too. Now that I think about it, he gives Tuca all sorts of lip too, Joel. So he is.
I'm subtly trolling you guys.
Gallos. Gallos is what he is.
Yeah, definitely. The team is doing way better, but and I'm sure Dan will agree.
Call him el zorro.
No, I'm sure Dan will agree on one of the things that was going bad with when Chepo was at the helm. Furch and even Di Giannini, they were missing all type of goals. Sitters too, man, which I think ended up affecting his stint.
So you're blaming it on the players, Joel?
Not fully, but they did. There was a couple games where they should have won, and
I would say Furch definitely. I mean, I think we coined the verb, la furció.
Yes.
So yeah, I hear you on that aspect, man. The dude is missed his share of goals for sure, especially last season, since he's been with the team, to be honest. But I'm not so quick to. I mean, they were definitely a contributing factor, but there's no denying the fact that the guy who has him playing right now, who's I'm slipping my mind right now.
Yeah, that's a name.
It's Robert Rivaldi or something like that. Either way, he's had a team play infinitely better than what Chepo had them doing. So I'm just giving you a hard time about Chepo. I'm just happy the team's playing.
Roberto Siboldi is the
Siboldi.
Was that the goalkeeper, Robert Dante Siboldi?
Yes. Yeah, goalkeeper for Uruguay. Uruguayan.
As much as our fans, our Santos fans appreciate the Santos talk, Dan.
Yeah. Let's move on.
We'll get back to it.
Sorry, guys. I know I just changed the listeners to.
Yeah.
No, sorry.
And we'll jump to the list in a second, but we can't jump to the list before first acknowledging the fact that.
Primero que nada, hay que felicitar a Chivas porque ganaron bien. La neta, tonterías.
Good win, Joel, in Aguascalientes, in Necaxa, with a nice crowd. Obviously, Cálido Chiva Hermanos were there in force to provide moral support for Chivas, and they got a big win. A good goal from their fichaje flamante, Neros, and Schneid and La Chofis looked good again. He's lost weights, and then of course he was rewarded by not being called up, which I'll about to say. Now I want to ask y'all both a question. Ask Joel a question first. We'll talk about Chivas, and I'll throw in my Chofis question. But Joel, you as a Chivas fan and seeing the way that they play, the way that they're capable of playing, getting a decent Necaxa team.
I don't know about decent.
Could there possibly be? Is that really like a bit of light I'm seeing at the end of the tunnel, or are my eyes playing tricks on me?
I don't want. First, Necaxa is one of the worst teams in the season right now. Only 1 goal in 3 games. I mean, if there was a team to beat, that one was it.
Dude, the season is 2 weeks old.
3 weeks.
Whatever. Well, 3 weeks after this game. Yeah, but I mean, it's not like.
But I mean, if you can score a goal in how many minutes is that now?
Well, Cruz Azul has scored one. They got off the anyway.
No,
but please continue bad mouthing your Chivas. Joel, honestly, if you.
Yeah, I don't know why you're stopping.
If there was a country song that I would use to describe your relationship with Chivas, song, if loving you is wrong, I don't want to be right. That is your country and Western anthem from your relationship with Chivas.
I agree. It's only 3, but we're talking about short season here, so a lot of times this adds up, where a slump could put you in a very bad place. Look at Chivas. We were already talking about crisis. So could we say crisis averted? I think one of the real tests is going to be when they host Monterrey. I mean, I think that's one of the games to see how well the team is doing.
Well,
Cisneros did score.
They did win, Joel. They did win, Joel. They did win.
They did. I'm gonna say some good stuff on.
All right.
I wasn't giving him too much credit. I was saying that he was gonna have his odds of making it are against him, given his age and playing time. And then the first 2 match days, he was sent to the under 20. So supposedly he scored a brace in Interescuadras before the match, and Almeida took him to the first team, and he scored on his debut. So that's a positive note. So I hope he proves me wrong, John. Hope he scores because he's a good talent. I just feel he has lacked playing time.
Okay.
I was pretty excited about it too. I got obviously
that's
I'm partial, but
product, right?
So my question for La Chofis, I know that La Chofis says that he's trying to get away from he's a guy that is not Chofis anymore. His name is Javier Eduardo. Name is Lalo, right? So like Ha, right, and then Lalo, and then Lo for his. He could be El Calalolo.
I like Chofis, man, but they said that we can't call him that no more.
Why is that?
Now, is Joel? Are you terribly upset that he was left out?
No, I don't see him making the World Cup squad.
Do you think he deserved a call up more so than some of the other guys from the team, or? No,
not really. Not really. He's been inconsistent, man. He's just beginning to look good this season. He worked really hard, but this is something he should have done like a year ago. This is like when you wait till the last day to do your homework or to study for the midterm exam. Yeah, I do feel he waited too long. But you never know, man, because injuries and whatnot.
Well, the internet was going on fire today with the debates about him being left off and our favorite MLSers being kept on.
Well, wait. Real quick, gentlemen. I pretty much knew those guys were going to get called up.
Of course they were going to get called up.
But I'm going to tell you how I knew. No, pero les voy a decir. I'm going to tell you how I found out. So I go into the Mi Selección MX Twitter account, the official FMF, and their banner was those 3 guys. This is before the list. I was like, they must be, patrocinios.
Now the list is for that's coming up in San Antonio next Wednesday on the 31st of January of the year. Now, me personally, I think that this is a prep list, not a let's see what some guys can do. It was going to be picking players that have already been quote unquote part of the proceso. So I don't know necessarily. And you're gonna have to really just have a lights out kind of the next couple of months to be considered for the next one. So that La Chofis was at that point. But joining us now, well, first of all, Chiquis, thanks for hopping on. But also joining us, we have with us now. Is this Sergio or Walito that joined us? I'm not sure.
This is Sergio. What's up, guys? How are you?
Sergio Tristan joins us from Pancho Villas Army. Sergio, how are you? This is John Jagu. Thanks for hopping on. Sorry about the the reason we could get you on a little bit, but we do appreciate you coming on. Thank you very much.
No problem. I thought I missed something, so I didn't mean to bug you guys. I thought I missed something and couldn't find anything, so I was freaking out. But it's all good.
Well, I blame my technical abilities for that. Sometimes they go through, sometimes they don't. But I'm glad to have you on. Now, Sergio, Pancho Villa's Army is you're on your second decade, correct? You didn't you start this in 2000? Is it 2008 when you started?
No, we started. Well, the idea came around 2011 during the Gold Cup match, Mexico U.S. when Mexico stormed back and the famous Giovanni goal. But we actually launched it in 2013. Literally, I was on the beach in Puerto Rico, and my wife said, "You're crazy. What are you thinking?" I'm like, "There's got to be more people who want to hang out and go to Mexico soccer games with me." And on January 1st was when I literally created a Facebook page without really knowing how to do it, and here we are, right? Like 5 years later.
And how many followers do you have on your Facebook page now?
We're getting close to 48,000 on Facebook, about 7,800 or so in Twitter, and about 3,400 or so in Instagram.
All of these people are going to be at the big party in San Antonio, right?
Yeah, no, not all 50,000 or so, but
not all 50.
There should be quite a bit of people, man. You know, the fact that it's a weekday game makes it a little bit hard for a lot of people to travel on a Monday or I mean on Tuesday or Wednesday. Right. But we expect a good crowd. We
believe that there's got to be plenty of representation, but just from San Antonio, Austin, and South Texas alone to fill up a stadium and the restaurant the night before.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So like the night before, from what I'm seeing, is about 300 to 400 people have said they're interested or they're going to go to the party the night before. It's going to be great.
And where's this party going to be?
We found this bar called El Luchador. Great dude who runs it, and he's just been very awesome with us. He's going to host a loteria night. There's going to be really cool prizes, including jerseys and giveaways and stuff like that. And then just a bunch of cool people hanging out, having drinks, man.
So it's going to be at El Luchador. Is there what possibilities do you give there being an actual lucha libre fight before midnight?
I hope not, man. Unless someone in the crowd's going to do it, but I hope not. I hope it's just a good time with cool people. I don't doubt people start putting masks on. I just hope they don't start jumping off the bar.
Now let me ask. Okay, so you. Says, I want you to be the first guy to grab a mask. What mask do you grab?
So you say that again?
What mask? Whose mask would you grab if the bar's okay? Go ahead and grab a mask. Or which?
Oh man, ever since I was a little kid, man, Octagon was my hero, man.
Really?
Yeah, I was a big Octagon fan, man. My mom, I made her buy me the Octagon costume with the ninja, the black and red ninja outfit and the mask, and man, he was just like my all-time favorite hero when I was a kid in Mexico. I bought his little plastic figurine, that you buy in Mercadito.
Right.
I was an Octagon fan, since a kid. That was just he was the coolest.
It's a very interesting answer. I'm old school, and I will ask the panel this question as well as we. The guy, because I'm probably a little younger or a little older than y'all, and when I was a kid, Santo used to make movies, and image of the Santo that I cannot get out of my head is him sitting in first class on an airplane in a suit, wearing his Santo mask and going to Bond movies in Santo. They were fantastic.
Dude, yeah, you see a lot of those photos, and those were classics, dude.
And then how many folks are you expecting to be sitting in your section there at the Alamodome?
Yeah, our section looks to be about 320. So decent size for a weekday game. So yeah, I mean, we think it'll be pretty cool. The only thing right now is that we're having a little bit of trouble with the stadium security regarding drums and stuff like that. But we've been there plenty of times, and we've always been allowed to have drums in the TIFO. But just every year it's something new. Every year it's a different person who's in charge, and so we just got to go through the process to make sure we get that stuff in. But we don't expect.
I'm well aware of dealing with the Alamodome. I have I've done events there. It's I understand that completely. And
but drums no drum, tifo no tifo, man. We're gonna see the selección play, and it'll be a good time, and hopefully they win.
And do y'all have I don't know, you don't want to give it away, but do you have like any kind of special like tifo surprise that you're going to unveil?
So not for this game. We are working very, very hard for the Santa Clara game and for the Dallas game. That's coming up in March. So those are the two games that we're really going to focus on for our tifo. And I think you guys will be impressed. I think with this one we're going to do. We're just trying to decide between one or the other. Our traditional, green, white, red Mexico flag with Pancho Villa on the front, or our San Antonio come and take it all red tifo, which both of those we've done in San Antonio before. So we can do one of those two. But yeah, I think the new tifo, because man, those things are hard to do. The two new tifos will be displayed in March during the FIFA dates. Is what we wanted to focus on.
T-shirts you got to sew together to make those things.
Man, you don't know how many like our abuelas quit on us, dude. Like at the beginning, our abuelas were all about helping us. Now our abuelas won't help us sew anything. So now it's us.
Is it huelga de abuelita? I can just see the little. They're probably like knitting the little black and red flag that they're going to hang on there. Make a little tea cozy of the.
I know, man.
Of the black and red flag. Black. Well, now I do. I don't want to hog all the questions here, so I do want to open up. Line. I noticed that Rigoberto Ayala joined us. Rigo, good evening. How are you, sir?
How are you, sir? I'm
do you
irate in New York.
Go ahead. No, we'll talk about that. I know you want to let off some steam. Now before we do Rigo, I do just to make you feel a little better. If you don't mind, here
sure.
Here we go. All right. Sure. Rigo, do you have any questions for Sergio?
No, not at the moment. I don't.
Anybody else? Any questions for our friend Sergio?
Are you going to be going to Russia?
Yes, I am definitely going to Russia. I am looking forward to hanging out. Man, everybody who went to the Confederations Cup said it was amazing. Like their infrastructure is ready to go. Like everything looks really cool. I can't wait.
How are your flights? Have you booked your flights?
I booked everything in one big package. So I don't really know, but I mean, I just booked everything together.
And you guys sold packages as well, right? And
right.
Have you sold your allotment?
So like we didn't run a package per se. Like Pancho Villa's Army, ran a package, but we got with FIFA and their official FIFA agent here in the U.S. And we said, hey, we just want to make sure tickets are together. Because everybody wants to, fly on their own schedule. Sure. Everybody wants to, stay in different hotels. Everybody has different opinions of what they want to do during the day. And so we were trying to find a way to get only tickets. And that way, like our goal really is just to sit together. And so FIFA said they would work with us. And the retailer here said they would work with us. And so what we did is we set aside, tickets for every Mexico game in the category 1 and said, okay, guys, we have 2 months to put the initial deposit, and then the final deposit will be due in December. And we worked directly with FIFA on that. And then people just got their tickets, and then everybody else kind of figured out their packages on their own,
right?
Or their accommodations on their own. But yeah, we did it through FIFA, officially through them, so we weren't dealing with any other third-party vendor. We just said, all right, tickets only. That's all we want. We want to make sure we get the best tickets possible, and then everybody else can do everything else on their own. One thing we are going to do, and we're in the final stages of probably announcing this, so I'll give you guys a quick heads up, is a Casa Mexico. So we're gonna partner up with some really cool people and make like a central focal point in Russia and Moscow, where people can go who are Mexico fans, whether or not you're Pancho Villa's Army followers or whatever. Just come, Mexico fans. There'll be food, there'll be activities, there'll be, bands and entertainment and stuff like that, and information. More importantly, how do I get to whatever town?
Right, and a place for link up. Who wants to travel? I got a rental car, that kind of stuff.
Exactly right. So we expect to make the major announcement, with press and everything in the next, couple weeks or maybe the next month. But it'll be a cool focal point for people to kind of drift to and really find other Mexico fans and just keep the party going while we're in Russia.
And have you been boning up on your Russian? Can you please let everybody here on our panel, on our podcast, know how do you say in Russian?
Vodka.
Okay, so just
and,
vodka.
and then the hand
vodka.
signal. Vodka, and then the hand signal. And I think that should get me to where I need to get.
That certainly will probably work for you. What are you planning any in Europe before heading over to Russia? I mean, are you going to follow the team for the?
So just like you guys probably heard, the England game was like really interesting to me, and I thought, man, I think if Mexico plays England in London, that would be amazing. And so
which they did prior to the South Africa World Cup, which they actually did play.
Right. And so I thought it was really going to happen, and then that kind of fell through. The people who went to the conference, they kind of released that Denmark was going to be the final game in Europe, and that looks interesting. So I'm kind of looking and seeing if the wife will sign off on it, and go another week and a half early, and start my whole party a little bit earlier. Because
it won't just be. I guarantee you they'll have more than just Denmark. They'll find somebody else to play over there too. So you'll
think so. There's like it's a week and a half gap, right? So that's what I was thinking too. But they haven't really announced any other dates. I didn't expect them to announce opponents, but I thought, yeah, and then we plan 2 more games after that. They didn't really say that, did they? Or unless I missed it.
If you can only go by what they've done in the past, and in the past, especially when they have opportunities to play in Europe. And then, like in South Africa, they've scheduled some pretty. So it wouldn't surprise me if they schedule the Spain or a France to play them before the tournament even starts.
I figured there should be at least one more game between the 2nd and the 17th, just because they probably want to be 4 days early to their opener with Germany, and then you probably want 4 days rest after Scotland, maybe another 4 days rest after the whatever friendly they put in the middle.
Yeah, but Scotland they're playing at the Azteca, so that's going to be way before.
Oh, right. Scotland's in Azteca, and then Denmark is on the 9th, right?
Right. And the tournament doesn't start until June 15th, but they don't play till like June 18th. Yeah, so they're absolutely going to play one more game between that.
Okay. No, cool. No, I'll start my party early. It's not a problem on my side.
I think we should all start. We should all start our party. We should all start our party early. This is CantinaMX Podcast. After all, we should start our party.
Are you guys going to Russia?
I am not. I have work this summer that is precluding me from going to Russia, and I can't speak for the rest of the panel. Rodrigo, are you headed over to Russia?
Sorry, I didn't mute. No, I'm not heading to Russia. No Russia for me.
No, niet for Rodrigo. Daniel, are you making plans to go to Russia?
My subscription to Pancho's BS Army, I guess, was received in time. So I'm shit out of luck. So no, I won't be going.
No Russia for you, huh?
No Russia for me. No.
You'll have to have borscht at the house. Borscht at the house. Albert,
there's something kind of cool about watching it in your underwear, though. In the morning.
Early when the games. What is it, like 3-4 in the morning for some of those games?
No, right?
Well, and he lives in LA.
West Coasters are going to be late morning,
9 a.m. Right?
Yeah.
I think one of them is like at 6. I'm not sure. Well, at least 6 Austin time here.
If anything, I might play hooky from work and then have local friends come down from LA and San Diego, maybe, hopefully to have a little viewing party at home.
There you go.
Not quite as fun as Russia, but still.
So anytime it's
drink vodka and eat borscht.
It'll be a good time.
Joel, are you headed to Russia? Joel, have you been? Are you gonna gas up the Learjet and go?
There's nothing on my piggy bank. I would have liked to go, man.
American Express black card that you have, Joel, and just
I kind of did want to mention the fact that I do find it interesting that Gold Cup match in Pasadena is becoming like Woodstock, where everybody's gone to that match. It's crazy how many people I come across that went to that game. I was like, yep, I was there too, man.
I think there's only like maybe 300 AO guys, and everybody.
What was that? You broke up, man.
Yeah, we're losing you. We're losing you.
I think there was only like 300 AO guys, and then everybody else was a Mexico fan.
Yeah, it was the crowd was definitely pro Mexico, and just imagine the the espejismo that we had back then after that game as a Mexico fan, thinking, wow, we just saw an unbelievable comeback with the players that had to make big plays, make the plays. I mean, I can't speak for the rest of the panel, but I'm sure that everybody was very starry-eyed after that game for many reasons. But
it definitely became one of those, where were you moments, right? Like the day Mexico beat the U.S. To go to Confederations. Where were you? Where did you watch the game?
I was on my couch in Austin as well.
I was in the stadium for both games. This is Stewie.
So Sergio, just to wrap up here. So where is the luchador in San Antonio?
Oh man, I don't have the address on me real quick, but it's no more than like a mile and a half, 2 miles from the stadium.
Okay,
it's on Roosevelt Street. I think it's 515 Roosevelt Street, about 2 miles from the stadium. So if you're coming into San Antonio to watch the game and you're staying around the stadium, we're really close to there. Obviously, if you just get on Uber and just type in El Luchador, it'll drop you off right in the front.
Yeah, Luchador is in not quite downtown, but certainly close enough to it.
Right.
And it's you're right. It's not that far from the Alamo Dome, and it's very close to one of my favorite little haunts in San Antonio, the Little Red Barn Steakhouse, which is a topic for another day. And then you have then you have the section, and your section is sold out, so you got the whole gang is going to be there.
Yeah, a lot of the gang's gonna be there. I'm still waiting for Rich to tell me if he's gonna show up. He should call me here in the next couple of hours and let me know. He's waiting for his boss to tell him yes. But everybody else should be there, man.
Yeah, you haven't.
And what can people do
from the bar to the stadium like last time?
No, we're not doing it this time. Just because, man, weekday games, a lot of people, especially the local people, don't want to take the day off to pre-party, and so they'll go to work, get off at 5, 6, and then just go straight to the stadium.
Yeah.
And we talked to a lot of guys like, yeah, dude, we'd rather just save our leave for the World Cup and for the other.
I will say though, Sergio, that San Antonio, at least where the Alamo Dome is one of the most walkable.
There are people
cities where Mexico's played.
Yeah.
So you could meet someone downtown at 5 and then have a nice little walk up towards the stadium.
Yeah, and that's the plan. We're gonna link up at 5. I mean, nothing official. Just kind of all start hanging out at Market Street and have some drinks and then just walk over.
A nice little procession. Alamo Dome. Well, if you're not a member of Pancho Villa's army, Sergio, what can you do?
Oh man,
how do you become a member?
Just go to our website panchogeneral.com and sign up, and it's really that simple.
That's it. That's all you have to do. I'm looking at your logo at Pancho Villa's army, and I swear sometimes I think that the silhouette you use at Pancho Villa, depending on how you look at it, what angle it is, sometimes it looks like Chicharito, and I'm not kidding. I think I see a little Chicharito in there.
Oh, really?
Chicharito with a mustache, just a little bit,
Yeah, I'll think about it. I just don't want him to sue us. That guy is very popular.
Yes, yes, he is, and he hopefully will have a solid run up to the. Which you guys will be in Russia, and then you said you'll be announcing Casa Mexico, kind of a meeting place for Mexico fans that have made the trip over to Russia. That is fantastic. Sergio, thank you so much for joining us here on CantinaMX Podcast. We really do appreciate it, and hopefully we'll see each other next week on Tuesday night at the El Luchador.
Yes, swing by, let's take some pictures and hang out and have a drink, man. Thanks for having me.
Sounds great. Well, we really do appreciate it. Join us here on the CantinaMX Podcast. Thank you very much, sir. And we will talk to you next week.
All right, take care. Send me the link when it's up, and I'll retweet it and everything.
Absolutely, we will do that. Thank you, Sergio.
Bye. Thank you, guys.
Later, man. Thanks.
Sergio Tristan joining us from Pancho Villa's army. He lives here in Austin. Is going to be going down to San.
I'm
very
super
easy
jealous.
game. A very easy game. Well, they're going to. Do you think that there'll be another California Day before they leave? Their American despedida and their Mexican despedida.
No, I'm just jealous that they're. But
All right.
There'll be other World Cups, I suppose.
Well, before I get Daniel on, Rigo, is there anything you wanted to say?
I'm going through like 7 stages of grief. I was really irritated earlier today. Now I'm kind of just tired. And like I feel defeated as a man, as a fan. But I mean, I'm just tired of this coach, and fed up. With every time there's a call up, him calling up guys who don't deserve to get call ups. Okay, maybe that's the wrong terminology. Maybe not deserve, but guys who aren't at their best.
Would you put Alanis in that list, Rigo?
Yes, I would put Alanis in that list.
Oh.
I would put guys like Chaca Rodriguez on that list. Jurgen Damm, who's likes to flee the law. And guys from the MLS. And this isn't just about Chofis, because I mean he's having a really decent 3-week stint so far. But there's other guys. There's Baca from Cruz Azul. There's Luis Montes. There's the kid from Toluca. I don't remember what his name is, but he's a striker.
Dude, he scored 1 goal.
But he's playing well though.
Well, that's fine. That's fine. But the point is that they're. I mean, again, they're gonna have to be playing just crazy lights out for them to be considered. He's got his guys, and he's getting ready. You know how meticulous he is.
But the other thing is, if you already know that you're gonna take the MLS guys to the World Cup, then why don't you just bring a whole Liga MX team?
Because he wants to see how they are.
We'll
talk about all that. We'll talk about all. I know that there's a lot of people that are very, but we do need to get to some other topics because joining us is a friend of ours from Long Island. Joins us who has his own podcast that he's been doing for a long time. Forest Against Fire, which is fantastic. Occasionally, he lets me come on the show, but we do appreciate having him on. Dan, how are you?
I'm doing great, John. How are you doing?
Video camera, Dan, if you want. If you don't want people to,
Why?
We do this is more of an.
I'm not a luchador.
Well, you can keep it on too.
I'm not a luchador. No.
You can keep your mask. You can keep your camera on. We prefer not to, but if you want people to know what you look like, then that's quite all right with us.
It's fine with me.
Well,
look, fame and fortune. There's nothing I can do about it. But anyway, no, I'm just joking.
Well, thanks for joining us, Dan. Now I know, Dan, that you went down to Philadelphia last week to the coaches convention, and you went to a couple of events. Well, first of all, why is the coaches convention so important in U.S. soccer?
I think the coaches convention is important for U.S. soccer because everyone, and let me just say this, it's not just coaches from the United States, the collegiate coaches, the high school coaches, the professional coaches. It's also from around the world. I've seen Bermuda, pardon me, from Bermuda national team was there. The Haitian national team is there. Coaches, of course, from all around the world. You have, Celtic comes over and tries to get kids to come to Scotland to do the Celtic way. Or if you want to head over to Cary, North Carolina FC of the USL, there is just so many things there to do with, of course, coaching methods, joining academies from within the United States, probably also Mexico. I would assume there would be some clubs from Mexico that does come to these conventions to share knowledge and have discussions with coaches that they never probably talked to before and from different parts of the world. I mean, as you guys know, the Dallas Cup that happens over where FC Dallas plays, the international tournament, of course, for the youth clubs like Club America. Also,
I actually worked Dallas Cup last year. It was it is absolutely quite impressive.
Yeah.
Now it's also a big. So it's like the one big join up for a lot of the important people in the world of U.S. soccer, which Absolutely. Is why they had a lot of breakout sessions where they had the some of the presidents. Now, did you get a chance to see any of the candidates speak?
I did see Eric Winalda speak, and let me just say this: I thought Eric Winalda. I did miss a little bit of the beginning of it because I was just finishing up. I cover the New York Red Bulls for SB Nation's Once a Metro. So, of course, they just like the NFL draft, the NBA draft. You gotta get the collegiate players that get drafted by the Canadian American clubs in MLS. You gotta get the information and just finish up the article. But I did catch majority of Eric Winalda's time with Alexi Lalas from Fox Sports. And let me just tell you, Eric Winalda. Maybe in the past, he could probably go off the cuff, shoot his mouth off. But let me just say this about Eric Winalda for sure. He has passion for the game. That is without a doubt. Eric Winalda has passion for the game, and he really set the lines of how he wants to run U.S. soccer after, of course, being eliminated from the World Cup this coming summer in Russia. And I've heard bits and pieces from other candidates. Kathy Carter has been more elusive than others. I think Kyle Martino has done a good job with where he wants to go if he wants to become president of the U.S. Soccer Federation. Paul Lapointe has already rescinded his candidacy, so he has stepped down from the race. Hope Solo. And let me just say this. It doesn't matter to me if it's a man or a woman running the federation. I don't care. But I want to make sure that they have the knowledge and the ability to go out there to seek true change after what happened in Trinidad and Tobago this past October.
What happened in Trinidad and Tobago this past October, Dan? Would you mind refreshing our memory?
Yes, I can. They basically thought it was going to be a cakewalk. Our players, the ones that did not care, they thought they're going to just walk on that pitch, regardless how flooded the corners were or the running track, and they thought they could just walk in there and treat the Soca Warriors like they were nothing, like they were beneath them. And it is a real shame, a very, very, very real shame to see those players that are not Christian Pulisic, who, he tried his best. He tried his best to get the team going. And even though he pulled one back early in the second half, the truth of the matter is this, is that Josie Altidore and Michael Bradley, and I believe those are the two players that all of a sudden showed their arrogance for no reason whatsoever. There has been an arrogance with our players for no reason whatsoever, and they got what they deserved, to be honest.
So the U.S. is a lot like Mexico in that sense that
Go ahead.
They're not good enough to be that arrogant.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't want you to go off on it. I was,
why not? John?
I was kind of goading you into that answer because, around here that game, of a lot of, we have a lot of fun with that game.
I know that's fine. Listen, look, you've got every right to have all the fun with that game. You guys go ahead, and I don't blame you. In fact, if you want to pass anything from the bar over my way, and we'll have a couple of shots together, you guys go ahead and have as much fun as you want, because the truth is they disgraced themselves, and that is a shame.
Wow. Well, Daniel, back to the. I don't want you to go off on this crazy, but we want you to. Back to the U.S. presidency. So
yes.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's nice that you said some more than others have a presence at this event, and they've been some more than others have been going on media tours, etc.
Mm-hmm.
But the reality is that the voting public doesn't necessarily like. I mean, the folks that vote is a very small group. Is that correct?
Yes. I mean, basically, the leagues have a vote. The USL has a vote. MLS has a vote. Depending on what happens with the North American Soccer League, I know that there's been a lot of turmoil going on right now with the NASL. They've already lost a good chunk of teams that went to the USL or just decided not to play anymore. I think the only teams left in the NASL right now is Miami FC, Jacksonville Armada, the New York Cosmos, I believe also Puerto Rico FC. There's still some turmoil about the two expansion sides that are from California, one in Orange County, the other one in San Diego. We don't know what those two sides are going to be with. Maybe USL, we'll have to find out and wait and see. But, even the amateur leagues get a vote, like PDL, the NPSL, the state soccer associations all over the United States, in all 50 states, they get a vote as well. I think now, I believe I saw something where the fans will finally get a vote on who should be U.S. Soccer president. I think.
Well, you would have to be a member, right? I mean, it can't be. I mean, I can't vote on.
No. I think you have to be a part of that special fan, like a supporters section group. Like whatever supporter sections are for your respective Liga MX clubs. They get a vote. So whoever's like the.
All right. Well, let me ask you this question.
Mm-hmm.
So the candidates again, which candidate do you think? And I hate to be very punditry here, but who do you think won the convention?
The truth, I feel like, I truly believe Eric Winaldo won the convention. To be honest, I think he has an idea. He has a plan. I believe he's got more of a plan than a couple of others. I think Kyle Martino would be a close second right now because he also has a good plan as well. I mean, it's almost as similar with Winaldo, but there's a little bit of a difference. I think Eric Winaldo is trying to become more, more towards the international calendar. He's trying to, of course, in Long Island right now, we got in La Liga clubs, Valencia has an academy on the campus of CW Post in Long Island. Right. And I know the director, Marios Cisfantos, he's a former assistant district attorney of Queens, New York, and now he's running the Valencia Academy in over in Long Island, Barcelona.
That almost sounds, Daniel, like you're pitching us a sitcom,
Oh no!
He was the DA in the toughest district in New York. Now he's
Yeah, you don't want to mess with Marios.
I'm sure not. I'm sure.
Yeah, no, I'm joking. He's nice. He's a good guy.
My next question then is, who do you want to win, and then who do you think will win?
Yeah, see, I think, in my opinion, I think Winaldo's going to win, but the truth of the matter is that it just sounds like he might not, and not because he hasn't run a good campaign. It's just that there are, I wouldn't say forces, but a faction which would be, obviously, some are saying, and I'm only reading what is going on from what I'm hearing, like through Twitter, social media, and some of the chatter going on through the convention from some people, that Kathy Carter might get it because, she is she is basically handpicked by Sunil Gulati and, of course, Commissioner Don Garber, because she runs the marketing arm of Major League Soccer with Soccer United Marketing.
Right.
So it just, to me, it sounds like she might win it, not because who knows if she is the best candidate or not. She might be, but it sounds like because some people believe that because she was picked by both Sunil Gulati, the outgoing U.S. Soccer president, and Commissioner Don Garber, that she might get the job. So we'll see what happens. Personally, and I'm not saying I'm, look, male, female, man, woman, it doesn't matter. Whoever is best suited for the job should win it. Right. And I personally, my opinion, Eric Winaldo should win it because I think he has a better game plan of what he wants to do with, with the program and with the federation going forward, including, putting MLS and all the other leagues into the international calendar, because I think that's the one thing that's still hurting not just hurting us that we're not in the international calendar with all the leagues that are going on right now, even though NESL just said they are officially a part of the international calendar. But, I feel like if this, it will always be a war in the United States about how the game should be and how it should be played and when it should be played. The truth of the matter is this. And
MLS needs they need a 2-season like they have in
yeah. No, I mean, that's what we're all saying. I think we're all saying that, or what I've heard from many is that, listen, we need to start in August, and stop the first half of the first season like around December, take like maybe a 2-month, maybe like a 4-week or like a 2-month break or something between January and February, and then like end of February, beginning of March, restart the season, because you're not going to play a league match in 30-degree weather at Red Bull Arena because it's way too cold. Forget about Canada. Yeah, I think you guys would probably become popsicles if you get to Canada around January, because that's even worse. I mean, Montreal, you're going to have to try and play inside the domed stadiums, like in Montreal, the Olympic Stadium, Rogers Center, where the Toronto Blue Jays play. Of course, Vancouver's always indoors with their Canadian Football League stadium that they share with the BC Lions. So I think that,
which is a fantastic stadium, by the way, in a fantastic city. I was so upset that Canada didn't make the Hex, so we could go back to Vancouver instead. I mean, nothing against Honduras, but I mean, Vancouver is just a little nicer than going down to San Pedro Sula.
Of course.
Again, I'm not knocking San Pedro Sula, but just Vancouver is just a little nicer.
No, absolutely. I agree with you. I mean, look at that. That stadium's nice. I mean, it doesn't get that cold in Vancouver, even in the winter months. It's amazing. I mean, it gets cold, but it's not like it gets like, below, 32 or 31. I mean, it's cold, but it's not freezing cold. I mean, that's just amazing that Vancouver doesn't have that weather problem. Yeah, I know, John. You want to go back so bad. I don't blame you, though.
No, it was a very nice. It was a very nice. So you think it's probably going to be Kathy Carter, but you
by default,
you would prefer.
I would prefer Eric
Ronaldo. I have to agree with you. I think that Kathy Carter probably will be the next USSF president, and we were talking about this earlier before we went on the podcast. That I asked a couple of guys, who that are kind of winning the PR on this thing too. Quote, unquote, hit piece written about him on the New York Times. It's like, hey man, if you need to know about me, then you need to know about me, because this is what I'm running for. It's like, it's all out there. You don't want to have it all out there. So,
and he's trying to be as transparent as possible. I mean, that's the great thing about Eric Ronaldo right now, is that he's being as transparent as possible. Okay, who's backing you, who's your donors. Here's this guy, here's that guy. No, that guy's not my donor, but I think he said Carlos Silva, who owns Miami FC in the NASL. He's one of his, people that's funding his candidacy to become U.S. soccer president. I mean, he wants equal pay for the men's players and the women's players. I mean, I'm not saying that, we can't have a politician. Of course we can have a politician or someone that's, in the political savvy that runs it. But if we want someone that has been through the wars and through the trenches, on the pitch, going in an attack for a goal, coming back to defend, I'm not saying Kathy Carter doesn't do that, but you know what? If Eric Ronaldo is saying the right things, and I think he is, I think he would be a very good candidate, because he shows that he does care about the game in the United States. Because, I think we've lost our way, and
I'll tell you what's going to happen.
Big time.
The USSF is kind of in a crossroads here, and I'll throw this question out to the panel. If they pick Kathy Carter, which they will, but I still think that she is certainly the favorite, then the USSF is going to show that they care more about making money. A player like Ronaldo or maybe a Martino who understand that the only way to get better is they have to grow the game, as organically as possible. They have to plant seeds.
Exactly.
If they care more about the game, then they'll pick one of those. So you'll know where USSF or that's like, I can't say, I have to say 3 S's in a row. United States Soccer Federation.
That's right.
Right at the end of this election.
That's right, and you're right, John, because that's the thing here. We're not saying that we can't make money, but the point is that if we want to win a World Cup, if the United States if we are the first CONCACAF nation to win a World Cup, I had to throw that out there, gentlemen. I apologize. But if we are going to be the first nation out of CONCACAF that's not from UEFA or CONMEBOL to win a World Cup, and if Mexico does it first, of course, my hat's off to Mexico. But the thing is this: if the U.S. Soccer Federation wants to be the first nation out of CONCACAF to win the World Cup one day, then we can't go back to where we've been going since the league got started. And we are at a crossroads. We have to go organically. We have to change things up because there's a lot of issues right now that's on the table. And what most of the people, the USSF wants to do is remain as is. If that happens, barely qualifying for a World Cup or barely getting out of the group stage, if we do qualify for a World Cup, is not enough.
Right. Eric Winalda played. He actually played in Liga MX for a spell. I know he played for Leon, and Landon Donovan is now playing for Leon. He had his initiation. Joel, did you see his initiation this week, Joel? Landon Donovan.
Yes, I saw it. That was cool.
Did you see that? Joel Aceves joins us again.
I see what. His initiation?
Donovan's his initiation at Leon. He had to run through the line and.
Oh no, I did not see that. No, I just saw that one. It looked like a Photoshop with some guy with like a fro standing behind him.
Right.
And it looked like he had like a ponytail.
Yeah.
So what was this? What was this initiation?
He just ran through. I think he got like smacked in the back. Real harsh.
Okay.
Wasn't like Kevin Bacon in
I didn't know teams do that. Is that like
well, they had the cameras on, so maybe they just did it for the cameras.
All right.
Yeah, but I've seen them do it for like birthdays and stuff too. Just a weird little thing. No, Joel, have you been following the USSF presidency? Do you feel they're going to go business or sport?
I don't know. I haven't been too closely. But I feel that they're not as bad as a lot of the stuff I see on social media where they make it seem that the U.S. is doing or not doing as good as they should. I feel they were a bit unfortunate with the whole missing out of the World Cup, but I think they've done pretty good just to be able to be on the top 20 in the short amount of time that they did it from like 90. Italy 90 up until now. It's I don't think we give it a lot of credit, especially because we say it's from CONCACAF, but there's not that many teams that are consistently rated top 20.
Exactly.
Especially for that long, as long as it's been since 90 up until recently where they failed and it happens, I mean, with Mexico we came very close last qualifiers, but you see big teams also miss. You had Italy just recently, so I think it was unfortunate, the whole thing with the qualifiers. Even the last game, those two goals, man, goals, and then the one long shot.
Yeah, then there was a phantom goal in Panama, and
that's
the goal
crazy.
that
was crazy. I mean,
saying though, Joel, saying it's just bad luck though. I think it's taking it a little bit easy because yes, that in that game a lot of things went wrong. Every possible scenario that not only in that game but in all the other games all worked out against the U.S.
Exactly. I'm sorry, keep on going.
But they got themselves into that position.
Exactly.
Started
you're
off
absolutely
super
right.
bad when they lost to Mexico, losing to Costa Rica. Those, but ultimately, so I think to say it's just bad luck. I mean, you're
bad luck in the sense
covering up a lot of the.
No, but I'm saying look at Mexico. I mean, we were very similar. We lost at Costa Rica, and then the U.S. beats Panama with 2 goals in the last minute. I mean, that was lucky for Mexico, and unfortunately, the U.S. missed that luck.
Well, let me say this about what happened last cycle and this current cycle. Even though we're going to have the World Cup this summer. See, the difference is, and maybe John will agree with me. I don't know if any of you will, but let me just say this: Mexico had an issue with the head coach, with Chepo de la Torre, right, John? I mean, the players had an issue with the coach, and then when it was too late for the FMF to sack him before going to Columbus in the last cycle, you guys got lucky because you lost to Costa Rica. If we did not beat Panama, or first we drew Panama late. If it wasn't for the goal by Graham Zusi to tie it, to put you guys into the international playoff in the last cycle, you would be in the same position we are right now. Right now, this current cycle of the United States, and I agree that they put themselves in this position. They put themselves in this position because when it was under Klinsmann, okay, they just did not want to listen to him anymore. They were done. They were already, blinders, they put the plugs in their ears, whatever it is. When they got trounced in San Jose, Costa Rica, that's when the change had to happen. Bruce Arena comes back, and then all of a sudden they made up all the goal differential against Honduras over in Avaya in San Jose. I mean, you had a hat trick from Clint Dempsey. You had Leggett who scored, you had Bradley who scored, Pulisic who scored, and then you had the draw down in Panama 1-1. You got 2-0 over Trinidad and Tobago, and then of course 1-1 at the Azteca. But when they came to Red Bull Arena in Harrison, New Jersey, when they came to Red Bull Arena, yeah, it was a 50-50 crowd. Yes. Half the crowd was for Costa Rica over at Red Bull Arena. But what I'm saying is, no. But I'm agreeing with you guys. But I'm agreeing with you guys. They switched off. It is their fault that they used Red Bull Arena as an excuse for the way they lost, because we shouldn't have had to qualify at Red Bull Arena because it was more Costa Ricans. No, they didn't do anything until Costa Rica scored the first goal.
Well, you know what? I've seen Mexico switch off. I feel we've been lucky. We've been lucky a few times, and then seeing some of the other teams just crash. There was a qualifier when Aguirre had to come in to rescue us.
Oh, I know that. I remember. Yeah.
And Honduras.
But
Honduras lose. Well, yeah, Honduras
this goes back to the other point, though.
Wait.
where they're going to choose a new president, and okay, flip of a coin, Mexico got in, and the U.S. didn't. Kind of like just randomness, kind of like both of them had horrible qualifying campaigns, and circumstantially one of them got in, one of them didn't. Okay, fine. But I think the difference is that the U.S. has an opportunity to at least
learn from this.
Exactly.
Positive. So Mexico has an excuse not to change anything because they got in, and ultimately pretty decent. They showed I think they had a pretty decent World Cup, I think, by most people's standards. So in their minds, the money's still rolling in, and the World Cups are still coming. So yes, that was a close call, but we don't need to reinvent the wheel.
To be honest,
really address
and I agree with
key issues and growth.
To be honest, this might have been the best thing that happened to the U.S. Is not qualifying for the World. I mean, and to be honest, Mexico shouldn't have qualified in 2014 because we needed that. We needed to not qualify. Because we like Dan said, we haven't reinvented the wheel. No, Mexico needs it. Mexico needs it.
Hell no.
Mexico never learns, man. They still haven't learned.
Yeah, Mexico doesn't learn because in Mexico's mind the objectives are met because they care more about the money than they care about the advancement of the team.
Yeah.
I don't see anything changing for the U.S.
If they hadn't made it in 14, then things might have changed.
I mean, Mexico missed 74.
Rigo, I agree with Rigo because that's the truth. Because if it wasn't for, listen, if Panama would have beaten the United States in that final game in the hexagonal, you guys would not have made it to Brazil at all. And
not only that, when it comes to luck, I mean, there were 3 different things had to happen for the U.S. to lose, and all 3 of those things happened. So
exactly.
The luck was totally different.
Including a phantom goal. We'll call it the phantom menace goal.
I think there's I think it's an exaggeration, though, that ever since the U.S. Failed for the World Cup, there's been all this talk about slipping through the cracks, all this talk about corruption, not getting the Hispanic players or the non-wealthy players, whatever you want to call them. And it's just over and over, and I think it's just because there's so much so many people upset over not going to the World Cup. This happened. I don't think there's nothing gonna. There's it's good. It would have happened for Mexico if they would have lost. There would have been some good motivation for change. And now U.S. is going through this, but I don't see. I mean, they're going to do a lot of change and going to change from up top. But I think what failed the U.S. is their talent. They had a dip in talent.
Exactly.
And
I'm not disagreeing with you at all, Albert. I'm not disagreeing with you at all because it's the talent, and it's not so much it's just the talent. It's the veteran talent that got too arrogant for no reason whatsoever. Something has happened with Jose Altidore. Why? I don't know, but something's changed within him, and I don't know what it was. Michael Bradley, the same thing. The mentality, and this is how I view it for myself. And I only talk about, what I want to see how the American players are. If you have the quality, that's fine. But you need to have the mentality to go out there and to perform at the best of your abilities, to go out there and just, score as many goals as possible if you can. But you have to have your head screwed on right. And somewhere, somehow down the line, I don't know what happened. I don't know when it started to happen, but some stupid reason that our players and our veteran players, they got too arrogant, they got too big for their own britches, and they just found a way to slip. It's over with. It's done with. We're not going to the World Cup.
They're getting older. The MC is getting older. They lost Donovan. All their top players,
I know,
were on their downhill. They're downhill as far as age, and the younger players weren't coming up. So it was just a dip in overall talent.
And I agree with you with that as well. And I agree with you that
through it after this golden generation is over. I think the next cycle is going to be pretty hard for Chucky and the rest of his, and the rest of the guys that are younger. After Gio dos Santos and all those and Chicharito are done. So I think in CONCACAF there's teams that they're up and then they're down, they're up and then they're down. But I think the U.S. has to work on finding the right talent,
developing talent too,
or even developing or whatever they do. But I think it's going to be hard. There's not going to be a level of talent in the U.S., and I've said it before on here, and I don't know if you'll probably disagree with me, Daniel, but NFL and other sports just dominate the U.S. too much. Soccer.
Oh no, I absolutely no. I agree with you with that as well. The NFL does dominate what's going on. Major League Baseball is now dominant, even though they're saying that soccer, football is getting better. They're saying very soon it's going to become the third best sport in this country, which I do agree with. But we still need to develop these players, and these players need to come and they need to be welcomed, and they need to feel like, okay, you can do something here. I mean, look right now, Weston McKennie right now playing for Schalke in the Bundesliga. Josh Sargent is, I think, with Werder Bremen, I believe, in the Bundesliga as well. And we know Pulisic is with Borussia Dortmund in the Bundesliga as well. And I'm not saying we got to send our kids to Germany all the time, but the point is that and we have and George Weah's son Timmy is also an American player, and he's over at Paris Saint-Germain at PSG. And of course, we got a couple of other young players in England. But the truth of the matter is that we got to get these kids that are the next generation, if we do have a next generation. And I like to think that these are the kids that are going to get that opportunity and hopefully qualify for the Olympics. We've missed 2 straight Olympics, the United States. Or maybe even it could be 3 or it's even 4. I've lost count, but we've missed qualifying for the Olympics. And we got to do a better job in finding these players that, not just qualifying for the Olympics, but to see where the next crop is coming from so that we can qualify for a World Cup and hopefully go forward. And I'm not disagreeing with anybody here. Your assessment is correct. Where is the next level coming? And where are we going to find the players? And it's not just, the rich suburbs, like for me, being from New York, it's not Westchester County, Rockland County. That's north and a little bit northwest of New York City. Those are the rich areas. Long Island's also a rich area if you go far enough towards the eastern end of Long Island.
Is that where you live, Rico?
No.
I live in Long Island.
Oh, you live in Long Island?
Yeah,
I'm from Brentwood.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Which has one of the best soccer programs in the state. And I don't know how many of those players are looked at, but
right. See, that's the issue.
Brentwood's had one of the best soccer programs in New York State for a long time.
Yeah.
There's just no money in scouting soccer players. I mean, that's just the reality. Yeah.
That's true. That's very true. And I think that for U.S. soccer, what they need to do is they need to hire someone from each state association. And there's in New York, there's two state associations. You got Eastern New York SSA and Western New York Soccer Association, to look at, because New York is one of the bigger states in the country, like California and like Texas. Those are the three biggest states in the country. But I think what they need to do is they need to hire one person from each state soccer association so they can scout for the national team.
You know what, Dan? A long time ago, Bielsa went into Mexico and he did something very similar where he set up scouts like that from each region, and he unearthed a lot of gems. Basically, the bulk of the national team all came from Marcelo Bielsa setting up something very similar. Then we threw it away. But I'm sorry, go on.
Okay, no, but I mean, the same thing. I mean, look what's going on there's a power struggle going on within U.S. Soccer Federation as well. I mean, Hugo Perez, who was, a great player back in his day, and he was leading a couple of kids in a group. And I'm trying to remember the story because someone told me the story, I believe, when I think it might have been maybe Andrea Canals. I was talking to her on my show on this past Monday. I had a bunch of people on my show Monday talking about the whole Jonathan Gonzalez situation, which I'm very disgusted with, because I don't care what anyone says at U.S. Soccer Federation. If you failed to make this player, to feel like, you want him to be a part of the program, then you should have done everything to bring him over. Good for Mexico, good for the FMF for treating Jonathan Gonzalez like he is something special to them. Good on them to bring him over to be playing for Mexico, because what they did to him was criminal, terrible, nothing. And, it's just disheartening to see that, because, what are you looking for? Like we've already said, are you looking for the next great player that's going to start from their youth all the way to the senior side, to the senior men's team? Or are you just looking for the
contract?
Exactly. That's the problem. And that is the most single problem right now. What are we trying to do here? You'll always have the money coming in, but if you develop the talent that's going to be the next generation, because the big question is this: who's coming after Tim Howard? Who's coming after Landon Donovan, Clint Dempsey, Michael Bradley? Because right now, the only one that's coming at the moment who's here, I'll say right now, Christian Pulisic, DeAndre Yedlin, is going to come back. That's it. Unless these kids that did well in the youth tournaments are going to come over.
You touched a vein that runs deep on this show about how to make the money. It's the players first.
That's right.
Yeah. So
that's right.
Hey Dan, before we let you go, I do want to ask you one last question. How do you think Mexico will do in the World Cup? What is your honest assessment?
What's their group again? I keep forgetting. Well, then again,
they opened up against Germany. Yeah.
Okay. You're dead.
Korea. Then Korea.
Korea, that might be a draw. That's a win. I think you'll get second place.
And then they play Brazil.
And then it depends on. I think you're going to crash and burn in the round of 16. I'm sorry, guys.
Hey, I don't think that anybody here has said anything different other than Ronnie, who said that Mexico was going to make the.
It was me, Josh.
No, it was Ronnie who said Mexico was going to make the semifinals.
But that was also
I said 3 and out.
I'd say 3 and how
I said we don't
that
even
was our
make
immediate gut reaction, though. We haven't had a chance to redo our picks.
I said Mexico doesn't qualify out of the group.
Well, make sure that you guys reassess all your picks and you go to Professor Jagu and he'll count it off.
Don't go to Professor Jagu. Don't go to Professor. I'll just keep track of it. Hey, Dan, thank you so much for joining us. Daniel Forstein joining us here on the CantinaMX Podcast. And Dan, what is your show again that people should download?
Once again, Feuerstein's Fire at blogtalkradio.com/Feuerstein's Fire. F as in Frank, EUER, S as in Sam, TEIN, S, no apostrophe, FIRE. And I write for Once a Metro, covering the New York Red Bulls for SB Nation. And can't wait for the Champions League now. And I know we got a big Red Bulls have a big test over Olympia. I know you got some pretty good matchups. I think where's my sheet? Here it is. I got my CONCACAF draw sheet.
The big one is America playing Saprissa.
Absolutely. And don't forget also Tigres against Herediano. That's going to be a damn good matchup, obviously. Wow. I know, what is it? Chivas is going to destroy the Dominican Republic club Cibao.
I wouldn't be so sure about that.
I think it'll be a
No,
close
come
game.
on.
I think it'll be a very
Come
close
on.
game.
Seriously, come on.
Hey,
You're telling me that's going to be a close game? You got
Chivas under 20 could
I
beat
think the
them.
Chivas will pass, but I think that it'll be. They're not going
Probably
to
go to PKs.
Oh, you guys are disappointing me so badly.
You have to understand that the self-loathing amongst Chivas fans is very strong on this show.
It's infected Riga.
Neros
It's
is
the
gonna get
Dominican
his
Republic.
hat
It's
trick
the
in that
Listen, I have a lot of Dominican friends. All right, they enjoy soccer.
Thanks for coming on, Dan, man.
Thanks,
we really
John.
appreciate it.
All right. I'll talk to you next time, guys. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Dan.
Take it easy.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Take it easy. Bye-bye.
John,
Right.
what caught me interesting, and it's something Thomas Rongen talked about, how I think the Yolas only had like one scout.
Yeah.
For their whole
Right.
program.
Once, imagine that.
And yeah, I do remember when Bielsa set up the scouting, he did the same thing he had done at Newell's Old Boys, where they just mapped out the whole country, and they said, okay, who's gonna cover what region, and you know,
I mean, what player has recently has come out of Newell's Old Boys?
well, I mean, there is a Messi, a certain Messi, but I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's
No, I
that's
was
good
gonna-
enough.
That's good enough. No, but I think this is something that could relate to the U.S. because with Atlas, they ended up finding Borghetti in Sinaloa, which is a baseball country,
Right.
baseball state, you know.
Right.
Sinaloa they're more into baseball, and Borghetti is one of the all-time great. Chicharito just beat him in for all-time goal scorer in the national team, and
Yeah, Chicharito didn't have any problems getting scouted.
but Chicharo, to Borghetti's credit, he's played more Moleros, you know, the Borg. So,
I understand, but I mean, obviously in Mexico, we've talked about this also. Is that the godson market is very strong.
Yeah. No, but yeah. So I think here, if they had better scouting, just because this country has people from all over the world, you know, I do think they would have a more talented team if they were just up with the scouting, man. I just think
There ain't no money in scouting soccer in this country. There just isn't. I mean, someone is going to have to make a commitment.
No, I know, but their product, if they want their product to improve, if they want the national team to be more popular, then they're going to have to put money for that.
Right.
You know.
And again, that's that to me is the crux of which direction the U.S. Soccer Federation wants to go. Are they in it for the money, or are they in it for the sport?
Well, it's a business first, John. So, but you know the saying, to make money, you have to spend some money. So.
There ain't no sport.
Yeah, but I mean, but do they understand that they'll do better if they invest in the sport?
No, they don't.
If they make the investment, it'll pay off down the road.
That takes effort, John, and it takes time.
And it takes talent, which the U.S. doesn't have.
Well, but even with scouting alone, you would inevitably
unearth some
more
talent.
players.
Yeah.
I mean, inevitably, it's just a numbers game. You just start finding more players, and that's. But I don't know, man. To me, they seem to be more comfortable making money.
Well, I mean, are they even making money? I know the MLS has been. A lot of the clubs just lose money. So I mean, I don't.
Yeah, but USSF.
But they have a line of investors that are waiting to pour money in. I don't know. I think they have like a certain way that they've developed MLS, a certain culture that the U.S. national team has that I think they like.
Because they don't have like the ratings, they don't have the TV contracts. So I don't really see how they're making money, you know. And even the national team.
Well, MLS makes money on
aside
franchise.
from the FEMA. Franchise fees. They're like
how MLS makes money.
They're like Herbalife.
I mean, it is one of their sponsors. No, they're not Herbalife, but I mean, right now, that's how they're making money is franchise fees. They'll break even with a better TV contract or whatever's down the road. But right now,
Hey, before it gets too late and before Rigo has to leave, I got some points on La Chofis.
Yeah.
Trophy talk.
Let's discuss.
We
trophies.
have to get back into
Mandatory trophy talk.
Before you make your trophies points, I do want to ask Rigo one thing. Rigo, I have a new nickname for if you don't want to be called La Trophies, how about El Jalalolo?
It sounds inappropriate.
What do you say? El Jalalolo.
Sounds terrible.
That's worse.
I think we just stay with La Trophy.
All right, please.
If he keeps scoring more goals, I'll call him Don Lalo.
Hey, I'm gonna shout out to Alvaro Vaquero, who's on the chat. I think he's he's a Trophies fan, but so Giovanni and Vela, I think you guys talked about the game in LA, the great game where he scored that goal. I think just going off of history and off of the potential, even a old, out of shape Giovanni and Vela is what Osorio is looking at, and he thinks that is more valuable. The potential that could be there is more valuable than what Chofis has shown. Also, Rigo and I were talking about Chofis. He's only played 3 games so far. Last season he was injured, so that's not too impressive. As a negative for him. And then this is sort of not too big of an issue, but the off the field type of issues that I think Joel has talked about with La Trophies could be another thing that comes into play. And I think it also, like with Alanis being left-footed, that could be another thing. Like JCO is really picky on what type of players, if they're left-footed, if they have some certain trait. Maybe Chofis doesn't have a certain trait that he's looking for that these other guys do. So there's all kinds of things that I think, and I don't totally agree with Giovanni being called and all this stuff, and especially like Gallardo and I think Rigo has some good points, but I see some other points that go against him not being called, which sort of.
I mean, I understand why he called Vela and Jonathan and Gio. Like, these are guys that have been with the national team for a long time. They have jerarquía, they have history. Me personally, I've been an F Bella guy since he said no in 2013 to go into the national team. Like I'm.
Why is that?
That's feelings, but that's not play. That's feelings.
No, I know. No, it is. It's feelings. But I don't think any player is above a national team call up. Whether his issues were or not, like he could have expressed what his issues were he's choosing not to express what they were. He's just choosing to say, I don't want to go. So then if you don't want to go, then you don't have, then you can't come back later and say, you know what, now it's my time. You're not. There's only 3 players in Mexico's history who I think can say that. And that's Rafa Marquez, Cuauhtémoc Blanco, and Hugo Sanchez. And he's not on their level at all, at club level or on national team level. So for me, like I wouldn't call him up regardless of how he's doing.
But why do you think that happened?
But going back to him, he scored 2 goals in 12, 13 games that he's played. He's not that great on the right wing. That's Bella. Obviously Gio has been over in the MLS and he's been, average for a while. But I mean, to Gio's credit, when he plays the national team, he's always given his all. But there's a lot of other guys who are just as average or aren't even going through good moments in their current career where they would be put above Chofis. Jürgen Damm, for example.
That's the one I didn't understand, honestly. I mean, I thought that if Chofis was going to replace anybody, it would be so.
Or even Orbelín Pineda. I'm not saying they're in the same position, but Orbelín Pineda has not been playing well, and he goes back to last season, and he wasn't injured, and even this season he hasn't been playing great. And and I'm a Chivas fan, and I watch him week in, week out. There's just I mean. Who else? Javier Aquino. Yes, I mean, probably the only advantage he has over Chofis is that he's faster than Chofis.
Hang on a second.
That's the only advantage.
Javier Aquino.
Yeah,
They have history, though. They have history of scoring goals and doing
If
well.
anybody had a Rescatable Confederations Cup, you could add
it was Javier Aquino. It was Javier Aquino. Yes,
Not
he
to mention
played
the
well
work
in
rate, though, man. Like that dude works. I mean, I'm not a fan, but he works harder than anybody.
He has work rate. But I'm saying is if you're going just on intangibles, it's not like he's out there scoring goals. If you're going on intangibles, the one thing that he does have over trophies is his speed and his work rate.
Well, excuse me. The thing is,
but
for
when
trophies,
you're
is that he
playing,
does not fit with what Osorio wants to do, and that is
I'm sure that's what it is.
an
I'm sure
reality.
Yeah, I'm sure that's what it is.
You don't think he could fit in a similar role on the wing, just like Tecatito does? I mean,
No, to me, you know where La Chofis needs to play, and I think he would do really well. And sadly, I think that this, in my personal opinion, with players that Mexico has right now, instead of this ridiculous 4-3-3, which just because I just think it forces your team to go wide, and Mexico's much better attacking up the middle. If they did a 4-3-1-2 where they had a true DS that can, yes.
He doesn't. Chivas sometimes puts him there, and he doesn't seem as comfortable there as he does on the wing. To be honest, even the other day when he was on the wing and he gave that pass to Ronaldo that Polido scored, he just looks more comfortable on the wing than he does when Almeida puts him in the middle of the field. And I don't know if it's because he has
good in the middle.
I like his 1v1 skills, and that's why I say I compare him with Tecatito, because there's not a whole lot of players that have that 1v1 skill. That'd be the one reason why I would want to call him and to give him take a look, because it's him, Chucky to an extent, but really that's it. It's really Tecatito. He's really the only one capable of playing and beating somebody like that.
You don't know where his head is at this point.
Yeah, that's a good point too. I mean, he's gone through a lot of personal issues, and he is starting to play now. So hopefully, he's not bringing in too much emotional baggage. But someone like Chofis, I mean, I'm not a Chivista, so I'm not upset that he's not called up. I don't think he's done a whole lot that warrants outrage. I mean, some disappointment, sure, but I mean, obviously, I think he has it in his mind. I personally think he's using all these games as how to dwindle those fringe players. I think there's a couple of spots that are left, and I think he's trying different players out to see. That's why it's not a big deal that we're not seeing Oribe, because he's going. Corona.
Well, are you sure about
these other guys?
Are you sure about Oribe going?
I think if it's up to him, he'll go. Unless he retires, where he just doesn't want to play anymore. I think if he's in, I think they'll call him.
What do you guys think about Henry Martin?
Well,
same thing as Trophies. Actually, it's kind of quick.
The big difference, though, is that he had been called up before, and I don't think anybody on this list other than the Gonzalez kid was a new call up.
That, and he's a striker too. That's another important thing, because
as we know, strikers grow on trees in Mexico. They're everywhere.
Yeah, and the ones that we have are just banging them in.
I know. I like it. I like that he called him up. I think that's good. I mean, field competition. That's the position that we need.
With all that
he's played well in the 3 games.
With all that I've said, though, on La Chofis, I think it is a disappointment that he is not considered by Osorio to be a fringe player, to at least give him a chance to be one time on the national team, to do something, to see what he can show. And if he doesn't,
well, the thing that really made me wonder about Osorio and Chofis was when he didn't call him up for a Gold Cup, because let's be honest, the Gold Cup was made for La Chofis.
Yep. No, I thought he did. I thought he did call him up, and then he got injured. He was injured, and he couldn't go. But I think he called him up originally. Like he had a list of 40. I think he was on that. He was on that original list, and then
for him being injured. When did he get injured?
He got injured before the final. He didn't play the final game of the championship. He got injured like the semifinal. And I think he had called him up, but he wasn't ready to play.
Well, I thought that he hadn't called him up at all.
I think depending on how he plays, he might
into the game in Houston. One of the prep, and then he was. I mean, he was. But I didn't realize he was injured. I thought that he. I just thought that it was just Osorio not like finding a spot for him. But you said that there is a spot for Chofis because he's on the wing now and he's kicking ass and taking names.
Yeah, I mean, I think on the wing there isn't like Dan said, there isn't many guys who can take one or two players by himself 1-on-1. There's Tecatito, Chucky sometimes. Gio used to be able to do it. He doesn't really show that ability anymore. I think Pizarro can if you put him on the wing, and I think Chofis. But it's disappointing that he's not going. He's only 23 years old. I think it would have been good for him to get a call up. Because by the time, obviously by the time the next cycle comes around, he's gonna be a little bit older.
It's still not too late though. I mean, if any of these guys decide to go on a tear, they can. I mean, but that's what's required. They're gonna have to have
you need to go balls to the wall, score a lot.
And then,
of goals.
there's not going to be any kind of controversy. They'll be like, of course you have to call him. Look at what he's doing. I like a season like I remember Chicharito, where he sat half the season and he still finished tied for champions of the goal scoring
right before the World Cup, and then he got signed by Manchester United. So yeah, I mean it was goal streak opened up a lot of doors for.
Oribe Peralta did the same thing. It took a while for people to accept how the amount of goals that he was scoring is you couldn't ignore it, and he forced himself. And now in
2012, sorry to interrupt, Dan. In 2012, where in all competitions that he played, scored 40 something goals. Over 2013, I think it may have been 2012. Yeah, so you're right. And he got important goals, huge goals, for club and country. But that guy's not. That guy is 6 years older now. So do you still think that?
Yeah. I think he still has something to give. I mean, like I said, if somebody else wants to make it obvious to sit his ass down, then I'm hopeful. But if
here's
decides
the thing,
to show up, I'm very comfortable with him getting minutes in Russia.
Why do people automatically believe that they're after another striker or the new French guy that they brought in? America guy's going to replace. I think it's going to replace Oribe.
What was that?
The America is looking for they're still looking for a striker. They're looking for a striker not to replace Henry Martin in the lineup, but to replace Oribe in the lineup.
Yeah, it's been a good career for Oribe, so I think he's winding down.
I take umbrage. Take umbrage to your little play on words, by the way.
Oh, sorry.
It's bad enough we call him Mozo.
I'm Pocho. I accidentally rolled my R.
What you call him, Horrible? That's one of his names. That's one of his nicknames.
Yeah, I know. I take umbrage.
Hermoso.
That leads me to a new segment that I want to try on the show because it is a World Cup year, and there's always. I think it was Medio Tiempo that did this. At least that I remember in the German. I'm sure there are others have done it. Who's on the 23 right now? Right. So we could say that Chofis is not on the 23 right now. Is that?
Do you have your pen and paper, John?
I'm not. I don't know if I want to write all these down. I think that we can just.
Oh, okay.
No, but he's definitely not the 23.
He's but there is room for a striker, and I think that if like y'all said, if anybody, especially in striker, I think that they have an opportunity to make the team. Is that guy? Then I mean, he's got a massive opportunity ahead. If he gets the minute, hopefully he starts. And here or Pulido. I mean, both of them. This could be. One of those two guys I think is going to end up on the squad. I think.
You have to imagine the guys must be licking their chops at the chance of going to the World Cup. Even if it's just like a slim chance. This is a huge opportunity for a lot of players.
It's a big opportunity for Rodolfo Pizarro for sure.
Yeah,
I think it's his last opportunity to make an impression. I think, unless obviously you have an impression otherwise. The Chivas, like you said, Orbelin. I think that's why he called up Orbelin and guys, and not necessarily because they're playing right now. But I think he just wants to see. Do you still have the? You're not playing well now, but I mean, where are you? Mentally, everything else. I mean, if they're just like shot mentally, like man, I can't count on this guy. But if they see, hey, this guy is, he's going to work through it and he'll be fine. Come April, May, he's going to be. So there's more to it than just calling up 23 guys. I think there's.
I think it'll be interesting to see Pulido, depending on if he plays him and where he plays him.
He's going to play him at left center back. That's coming.
No, because Pulido actually plays better as like a 9.5, like a false 9, like behind the striker.
Pretty good ball skills, Pulido.
Yeah, he's very good at recovery and dropping back and passing. So, but if he puts him up as a lone striker, like it happened earlier in the season with Chivas, he might not be able to do anything because it's not really his strengths. So
well, I mean that's the thing though is that he does with the 3 forwards. So he's either going to be he's going to have to. I mean, they're going to have to combine something. Maybe he'll play a little behind the 2 wingers or something. But so
I don't know. We'll see.
We'll see how that works out.
And it'll be interesting to see who he pairs in the midfield. Like if he were to pair like a Pizarro and a Jonathan, that'll be interesting. But
we could go double Yona in the middle.
Oh, Jonathan Gonzalez, Jonathan Dos Santos.
Yeah.
I think it was you, John. John, that said that he's talked about pushing Jonathan Gonzalez up further from the CDM position, right?
Once they're up the pitch.
So it's playing in in Herrera's position?
Yeah.
Well,
Jonathan plays there on the left.
I think honestly, I think that both not Dos Santos, but the other Jonathan, I think could play because Herrera plays
right center mid.
No, he plays the center mid in Osorio's thing. Does he not?
I was like he made the right center.
No, he plays on the right.
No.
Jonathan.
No. That's where Jonathan plays. Herrera plays right smack in the middle. He is the central midfielder. He's not suited to be the central midfielder. It's like watching.
I don't think that's where he's played him though. I think
I thought he plays him at the right center mid, and
because usually
on the left center.
But they have
like a mishmash of players.
So where does Jonathan play then? Dos Santos.
Jonathan also plays in the right center mid, and so they haven't really played together.
Yes, they have. What are you talking about? All they do is play together.
No.
They played the entire Confederations Cup.
No, Jonathan has been spotty with his play. Like he'll play one game. I mean, obviously there are rotaciones, but even still, like it'll be
it's kind of a joke.
Herrera.
Jonathan started against Portugal. He started against Russia, and he started against Germany. So when those two guys are on the pitch, Herrera is the center midfielder. I'm telling you. And you guys are absolutely dead right. He's not suited to be the center. When we had Martina, this team will be. It's why they're so exposed because he does not have that instinct of tracking back or playing way. He wants to piece out the area, the 18, and your center midfielder can't do that without backup.
Well,
that's great, but I'm saying play him on the right. I mean, he's so much better on the right.
Yeah.
Don't give him as much defensive responsibility.
I think that's what we'll see him this summer.
The only way that happens is if
we are.
Somebody
I'm fairly
if they get a bulldog as the like a Gattuso type in the middle.
No,
And there's only one man. There's only one man of playing like that for Mexico, and it's going to happen. And so you need someone to shock, to have a shockingly good season in order to get noticed.
Was that the one guy that you were hoping would be on the list?
Puebla has one. Puebla has Ojitos Mesa. One is having a major resurgence under Ojito. I'm not saying this just to blow smoke up y'all's ass because I'm
sounds like it.
I'm a Chacon guy, but he has actually played really well for Puebla, and they've won 2 games. They're having a really solid start.
Yeah, they're near the top of the table right now.
Well, they're not at the top of the table.
John,
they're near.
I think
only one team. Only one team at the top right now. So let's not forget that.
We'll see Edson playing in center mid.
I would love to see Edson play center mid.
I think that's what we'll see.
Yes.
Yeah.
I hope not.
I think that's what we're going to see playing
but
in that mid role.
He plays right back pretty well too. Although he did kind of get schooled by.
That's what. If that's where Salcedo will be playing.
Man, I hope that Edson, because Edson has a talent.
I didn't see Edson at center back.
You'll see Guardado and HH next to them. That'll be our mid and basically everybody else.
I'm telling you, if you can move HH to the right, he'll be 1,000 times better than playing.
And the type of season he's having, I'm hopeful, man. If he, because I still think, man, unequal. If this dude is on his game, he's better than everybody.
Who, Achi?
Yeah.
No. Come on.
His vision.
Are you saying he's better than anybody, any Mexican or anybody on the planet?
No.
His work rate, his defense, also his.
No.
When he's on,
I would take Jonathan. I would take Jonathan over Hector Herrera. I mean, I don't know about Jonathan right now. He's playing in MLS, but I would take Jonathan over Hector Herrera.
All right. So, do they both make the World Cup team? Midfielders, Jonathan and Achach.
Yes.
Yeah. Both going. All right. So, Guardado's obviously going to go.
Yes.
Right. I don't think there's any doubt.
I think Jonathan Gonzalez goes too.
You think Jonathan Gonzalez goes? Who's gonna back up Guardado on the left?
Pizarro.
Or is that where Giovanni's gonna play?
No, or
you think Pizarro's on 23 right now?
Actually, we're also forgetting that he plays Fabian in that left center mid position too.
So yeah, Fabian might be.
Fabian's done, man.
Nah, he's back.
Fabian's starting to play.
Back. But you know what though? He didn't play him when he had a chance. He started Gio.
And then Fabian comes in and scores the goal of the tournament.
Giovanni's going. Jonathan's going.
But
their dad will get upset.
I'm thinking Aquino or Marco would be good replacements for him.
That's right. I saw Aquino and Marco Fabian are the replacements there. Or does he play Aquino further up as a wing? I forget.
Aquino's a wing. Or I think he played him at left back one time, didn't he?
I think you've also seen Layun play there too.
Yeah, he's also talked about how Layun could play that left center mid position as well.
So let's start our list here. So let's start with goalies. So it's going to be Memo, right? Is Corona going? Jesus Corona going again?
Probably.
Sala or Cota, or add Cota. So I think Cota's on the team right now. I think he's the third goalkeeper.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. So defense. So we have
Salcedo.
Not played at all at all. Just is not playing. So
you just wait and see. He's gonna work himself to the starting 11 eventually. Moreno, right?
Yeah.
Who, Moreno?
Yeah.
Moreno needs to come back to Mexico.
Salcedo's in for sure, right?
Yep.
Yeah, Salcedo's in for sure. Moreno's in. Araujo's in.
Layun.
Layun.
About Cesar Montes.
No.
Maybe. You have Reyes. He's in.
Diego Reyes.
Cesar Montes was called up for this one, and he's 19.
I'd say he's a maybe.
Playing 3 years. He's been playing 3 years and starting 3 years for one of the teams where it's one of the hardest teams for Mexicans to start. It seems like Monterrey. So I think Edson as a midfielder or as a defender.
Yeah, I don't know where they're going to play him because I don't think he's ever once played for center back. He's only played.
Rafa in or out?
Rafa's in.
I think Rafa's in.
Rafa's in. Didn't Joel, did you see the news about Rafa? Did he have his sanctions lifted or the?
I heard he won. That he won a court ruling, but I don't know if it was.
I don't know where this court ruling was from.
No, I thought it was. I thought it was his account stuff. I thought that was.
I heard something similar, but they didn't elaborate, so I don't know exactly like what extent he's been cleared. Like to what extent.
All right. So does Rafa make the team or not?
Yes.
I'd say he does.
Rafa over Cesar Montes is basically what it's going to come down to. Right?
Yeah, because I think ultimately, if you need him for a couple minutes to hold like I wouldn't mind seeing Rafa being thrown into a game to hold a 1-0 lead.
The good thing about Edson Alvarez is that he's very flexible. He can play center back, he can play the wing back, and he can play as the center midfielder.
Yeah, Edson, I don't know in what capacity he'll play, but he's definitely on the list. He's definitely part of the 23.
Okay, all right. So let's move up to midfielders. Then we have with Serachache and Guardado and Jonathan are all locks, right?
Right. In my opinion, yes. Yeah.
All right. So let's pick 3 more then. As the
I'm gonna say backups. Marquito. If Marco's healthy, he's gonna be in.
All right.
But I guess maybe he's an iffy because he still needs to come back actually and play.
What about the new kid, Gonzalez, Jonathan?
I think Jonathan Gonzalez definitely.
I want to see him play, man. I want to see how he does. Who knows? He's definitely.
I think there was promises made when he chose.
Well, the promise
Mexico.
doesn't mean anything, man. He filed the paperwork. They
I don't think there were any promises made at all.
I think he got promised to be on the Olympic team, John. That's in October. Qualifiers begin in October.
Yeah,
that's a fair promise if that's all that was promised.
Well, I mean, if you're in the Olympic team, you're pretty much in the cycle to be in the next World Cup. A lot of times that's
right. And he's only 18, so it's not like
Yeah, I don't know if he'll make it.
I want to see what he does first.
Yeah, well, he will.
He's definitely one I want to watch play for sure.
He will definitely probably garner the most attention against for the fans in the game against. Right, so we've picked Marquito, maybe Jonathan. Is this where Aquino plays?
He's considered a winger.
I think he plays him on the wing.
And then Raton said Pizarro is going to be in the midfield.
I don't think he's in the World Cup squad.
Whoa.
I don't think Orbelín's in the World Cup squad.
Yeah, Pizarro, yes. Orbelín, maybe not.
All right, so let's look at the list of some of these other on the.
Because then you have Chucky, Gio.
They're going to be
Cheech.
playing further up. I thought it was very funny that the email I got from some to tell me about the list are Jürgen Damm and Rodolfo Cota.
Nice.
Joined Dos Santos brothers and Vela for San Antonio game. All right, so they have Jonathan Gonzalez, Orbelín, Jorge Burrito Hernandez. Does he make the team?
He had a pretty decent performance. He's another one I'd like to see a little bit more of.
And then Elias Hernandez and Victor
I'd like to
Guzman.
see Elias Hernandez too,
I'd like to see Elias Hernandez no more.
You don't want to see him more?
No.
I think he's good.
I think he annoys me.
I think he's good.
I think his 15 minutes were 15, well, not 15 years ago. I think, but his best games were back when he was Patrulla 77.
I watched a good amount of the game over the weekend, and he just annoyed me with his lack of a finishing product.
Isn't he? Has he scored a lot of goals so far?
I don't
Not
know.
a lot, but he's scored a few.
I don't know. There was something about him that I really didn't like.
I like him.
He's good. I don't.
And then, of course, they have Victor Guzman, who actually is the one guy who was before by Osorio, Victor Guzman, because he was, the leading Mexican goal scorer. That's kind of crowded, and I'm not so sure he's going to get a chance to go to the World Cup, despite the fact that he does score a decent amount of goals for.
Yeah, could you honestly see him not calling? Well, you posed the question, so you don't think he's going to take Uribe?
The reason I say that is because I think that Uribe is, and I didn't really think this until like a few days ago, that I think that Uribe's best days, he just hasn't been the same guy, and I think that America is looking for a striker because I think they're looking for, to.
I get it.
Yeah.
So this is payback for all the Tuca smack talk.
And it's not Tuca smack talk. Hey, I've been a huge Uribe fan and when he was with Chiapas, I was like, man, because I remember I thought his name was so weird. I was like, man, I got to follow because he was like leading the league in goal scoring. I think we were talking about it on Big Soccer. We're like, this guy, it's just a flash in the pan. It'll never pan out. But he just kept at it. It was great. I just believe that I think that he just hasn't as good as he has, But I mean, and
well, again, for sure, I'm not trying to suggest that he is what he was. No, I mean, but I don't know if any of them dudes are better.
Goes on a scoring streak and he gets white hot, then yeah, of course he's going to go. 2 goals in 17 games. Then
it's also pretty congested up there.
This is the part that's gonna have because there's Vela, there's Gio, Jimenez, right?
Yep.
And then there's Aquino, there's Lozano,
and Tecatito.
And Tecatito.
So that's 7. That's 7.
And he enjoys calling Jürgen Damm.
What if Henry Martin goes, starts playing? Well, that's 9.
That's 9. And what are we up to
that's
now?
For 6.
Well, we can play like a 2. Was it like a 2-3?
2-3-5.
2-3-5.
That'd be fantastic. That'd be fantastic. Yeah. So that is the area that's, and then if Henry Martin picked it on our first show of 2018 is gonna tear it up and make the World Cup team, then who does he bump? Does he bump Uribe? Does he bump Raul? Does he bump Chicharito? Does he bump Aquino?
Uribe is definitely the first one on the list to get bumped.
Chicharito is not getting bumped.
No, for
I think
sure.
if anybody gets bumped, it's like a Jürgen Damm or an Aquino.
I think the ones that you're gonna see with doing other promos for the sponsors, those guys are in. Once you start seeing all the ad boards or all the commercials, the players you see, the main ones.
True. I remember Israel Castro made a commercial in 2010, and he was on the team. So that was the reason why Yona couldn't do it, because Israel Castro was in the AT&T commercial. Ir a Sudáfrica.
Yeah, but also depends the player. These guys are pretty big names. They're not like the average, the regular player that ended up doing a promo. Chicharo is one of the more, how would you say it, John? Rentables.
Bankable.
Yes, there you go. That word, it says it all, man.
Right. have 6 spots, 7 at the most.
How many do we have total?
We just named 10 guys. So we think Chicharo's in. Are Vela and Gio in?
Yep.
Yeah.
And then
Lozano
and Chucky are in, right? So that's 5. So who's? So it's gonna be. So is it Jimenez
is in.
or Pera? You think Jimenez is in?
Yeah, I think he's in.
Jimenez has scored 2 goals the entire season.
Anybody that's in Europe
played maybe 100 minutes.
Anybody that's
Dude's a
in
stud,
Europe
man. I don't care how many goals he scored. He needs to go.
He is a stud.
So you're saying Paletas Queda is in, Rigo?
I mean, he talked the other day that he was looking at Govea, but that he wanted to call him up for this game, but the team didn't let him come because it wasn't Fecha FIFA.
Exactly.
So he might be on the next call up when it is a Fecha FIFA.
Well, and that's fine. I mean, call up 28 guys. I mean, why do you have to just call up 23? Call up like 30 guys. Why not? He's going to do rotaciones anyway. Play 2 different teams. See what you got.
Govea's not going anywhere.
You don't think so? He's not even on the radar. All right. So that's where we stand right now. We'll talk about this again, especially after the game next week to see who onto our magical list of. We do have to get into before we leave tonight, because I know that we do have a couple of Chivas fans. Our podcast here, the CantinaMX Podcast, we have Galen's the big Chivas fan, and then we have Joel Aceves, who's a big. I don't want to say who's bigger. I don't want to say who's bigger, but I know that we do have 2 big Chivas. Chivas did very well.
Felicitar a Chivas porque ganaron bien. La neta, hay que dejarnos de tonterías.
I mean, she couldn't have said it any better. They got a big win, and I asked Joel earlier if there was just a flicker of light at the end of the tunnel, or his eyes, and Joel said his eyes are playing with him. So I asked you, Rigo, has there been a flicker of light?
Did they play again?
Are your eyes deceiving?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I mean, I think it was a good slump buster.
Yes.
I think it was a good game. It was a good game to get over the slump, to bring some confidence to the team.
So you need to see some more.
Yeah, obviously this week is a big game. They're playing against Monterrey.
You know who's a Monterrey killer? Who's a Monterrey killer?
Chofis.
La Chofis, that's right.
I mean, Almeida. I think Almeida versus Turco has a winning record so far. I think Turco has only beat him once, which was last season.
Yeah.
And I think of the last 5 games, Chivas has won 3 and they've tied 1. So, I think they played well. We're still lacking on defense with our center back. So I think Alanis plays this week.
I have to ask you this question. I think this would be a good way. Scale of Guadalajara, Elvis Guadalajara, or Vicente Guadalajara. How would you rate Chivas' performance?
Wait, what were the choices?
Nat King Cole, Elvis, or Vicente.
How would I rate performance?
I don't know if Rigo has heard the versions, John.
I haven't heard those versions.
Yeah,
but I'm gonna assume.
So that's Nat King Cole.
There's
and of course the one that I play. Do play a lot.
So are we saying that Elvis is like mid?
No, you can say it however you want. Honestly, all 3 of those guys are badass mofos.
They are, but I mean, for this particular version of the song, we were to go with level.
Some versions are not as passionate as others, right? But we give both Nat King Cole and Elvis major props for singing the song. And singing.
I would go somewhere in the middle range is where I would go. So maybe Elvis.
The cheesy.
Somos leyenda del fútbol mexicano.
I think Rigo, Nat King Cole will be in the middle because Elvis just kind of improvised a few words.
So then
Elvis thinks gibberish halfway through the song. Huh?
For at the Mirador Hotel in Acapulco in La Quebrada. Elvis.
If you read that story, I think he practiced it like a few minutes or a few hours before the shoot. No, you should play the other part, John. When it's like
the other part, the
makes no sense.
So and here's Nat. Here's Nat. And then we have
Yeah, I'm gonna have to say Nat King is probably in the middle.
Yeah. All right. So Elvis, and then of course
Elvis got relegated.
When Chivas loses, it'll be just a torture Joel.
Oh man.
That's just too me.
That's just for reference to Rigo. That's Parchis. That's like my boyhood when I was a kid. They used to sing kid songs.
Did it hurt? Did they sing an Aguila song?
I did not know that till recently. John just kind of ruined that memory.
But he also didn't know that they were Spaniards.
No, I just thought they were white Mexicans.
That's right. They did a whole bit, and it was awful. It was awful. So Chivas says you guys are still, you're not even on the fence. It's like, all right, so you did what you did that. Now show me something else.
Yeah, I think this week is a big test.
All right, and it's in Guadalajara, which means that there'll be like 10,000 people there.
Yes, solid 10,000.
Well, I think my one critique on Almeida has been he hasn't been able to make the what is the Akron Stadium now? He hasn't been able to make the home field, like the stadium, the fort. You know.
Yeah, but I don't think it's his fault as much as I mean, there's no atmosphere there. It's just.
Yeah, I think it's the placement of the stadium.
There. I mean, you went to the final, right? So you saw the final, just what it could be like, and you've been to the games where like, oh my God.
I went to the Clásico, and then I went to the final, and even the Clásico wasn't like the final. Right. Obviously, it's there's two different situations, but the Clásico should be as big.
You're gonna see him play like Puebla,
Oh yeah, like you go to
some random team.
Yeah, and it's pretty much empty. Like I'm always looking at tickets just to see how much they are, and they're like $40, $50 for like the best.
Yeah, seats. So you would do a weekend jaunt.
Yeah, I would do it.
I really do think we need to do this at some point before our podcast meets its ultimate demise. Is to do a tour stadium. I think that'd be so much fun.
I'm thinking of going to the Clásico this year.
You guys want to go to Torreón?
I would love to. I want to go to all the stadiums in Mexico.
That'd be so much fun to go to all.
Yeah, just
go
like
to Toluca.
Like go to a Cholos game.
Maybe we could make a thing to like go to a game a year at least or something. Make it one game a year.
Like I wouldn't even care about going to like a Chivas, whoever they're playing. Like I would want to go to go watch another team play another team, and
you know what I find fascinating. Your team play like in another team's stadium,
and just check out the stadiums. Like I'm really dying to go to Monterrey, check out that stadium. Like I said, I want to go to see Cholos play because the atmosphere there on a Friday night looks amazing. Torreón on a Sunday afternoon is probably hot as hell, but probably great atmosphere.
Seoul, man, I think that'd be one to
say. Seoul on. I meant to say this earlier. Seoul on Sunday, packed, looked amazing, and like the way
did it look great?
It looked great. Like that's the way I remember as a kid, like watching the games on TV on Sundays during the day, and the stadium was packed. So that looked great against
a particular Sunday in 2004 when the stadium was packed, when it looked.
I don't want to talk about that, John. I don't want to talk about
it.
It
was outstanding.
And John, how excited are you, John, to have Cubo on your team?
Yes.
Is a good insurance policy. Us is going to live and die with if Nico Castillo can remain healthy, and I think Pumas has a really good chance to make the Liguilla and right a whole lot of wrongs with how their seasons have gone over the past 2 years. Then it's like then it's white knuckle time, and then you start praying Cubo get hot so that Osorio takes you to the World Cup.
No, I do think this is like one of his last chances to make it, or at least to make it big.
I saw him play
at
Dynamo, and he had a really good start with Houston Dynamo, but and he was one of the leading goal scorers, but misleading because a lot of his goals were, well, not a lot of, but a sizable amount of his goals were penalty kicks, and he had like 4 penalty kicks. So, and he did end up breaking the single season record for Dynamo, and he broke it pretty early in the season, like in August, I think it was, or July or August is when he broke it. But he faded, but I think he faded more because it gets really hot in Houston summer, and like miserably hot, humid, awful. And I think that it had a major effect on Cuba, because it's not, you're playing it once every 2 weeks, but you're practicing it every day.
I mean, he does have talent. He's been called up to the national team. It's there. He just needs to regain his form. And I think if going to team with Pumas,
I thought Cuba played well in the Gold Cup. Honestly, I know he didn't. He had a couple chances to score some important goals, but I thought that he looked okay. He wasn't terrible.
He now could have a good squad around him. So. Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, no, I've always thought that he has potential, and he's 25 now, and maybe he becomes the late bloomer. That's
what I was gonna say. Maybe he might be the next Peralta.
Yeah.
Wait, who else is
I thought it was going to be
Paleta.
I thought it was going to be Paleta. I said that 3 years ago when we first started. That was one of our first questions. Now, Rigo, in 2015, who would you have picked as a possible, Peralta type forward that could win away into a World Cup roster?
Miguel Sabah.
I see that would have been a good one too. Yeah, because then he had his chance to make the South Africa, but.
I'm gonna drop out, guys.
Sabah never made it to a World Cup?
I don't think he did.
Rigo, thank you very much for joining us, man. And
have a good
night,
guys.
You got your trophies. Glad you got your trophy stuff off your chest.
Yeah. And shout out to my Q and Norte guys who are on the chat.
I understand.
I'll talk to you guys next week.
Hey, thanks, Rigo. We appreciate it. Was Rigoberto Ayala that just left our chat here. He got his angst off his chest.
He stayed on for 2 hours just for that.
He did. I'm glad. I know that it's kind of hard for him to do that on the West Coast. We do appreciate him. The Joel, I have to admit, with Cuba coming on for Pumas, it's hard not to be, as a Pumas fan, bullish about. Being bullish means, get to like 20, 25 points. If you make the league, yeah, great. But to me, the points are the most important thing right now. And hopefully that could happen. And I'm not gonna lie, I like Patiño. I think that this is his chance. That this is his way to, to get back some, glory that he missed out on when he got injured. So.
And right on time, because we're about to lose 2 other Mexican coaches.
That's right.
Nacho, another bad result. Nacho could be out, and the same for Puente Jr. who hasn't been as good.
They have
as
0
Noah's
points.
Pua.
They have 0 points. They could be the lifeline that Veracruz needs to avoid relegation.
And then the coach getting probably his last lifeline is Romano at Atlas.
I checked, Joel, with Ruben Omar Romano. This is the 10th Mexican team he will have coached for.
Almost all of them now. Huh?
Yes, so
Half of them.
he has with 10 stops in Liga MX, that entitles you to one free cheesesteak. So he gets his cheesesteak.
He knows Mexico better than the lot of us, man.
That's right.
It's been all over.
Yeah.
How awesome is that, though, man? Imagine.
And the first coach to get the axe was a Mexican. It was Profe Cruz.
That's right. It's less, and I'm thinking. I said it earlier. Cristante might be next, also with Toluca, if they don't pick it up.
Yep.
Which I might see the return of my boy Chepo. I know, Chep Guardiola doesn't have many fans, but I still believe.
Gentlemen, I gotta bounce also, guys.
You're gonna take off, Dan? Well, thanks very
man.
much, Dan, for joining us. We appreciate it.
Absolutely, man. Have a good one, guys.
All right.
Hasta la próxima.
Later.
Thanks, Dan. So you think Chepo is Toluca bound, Joel?
Yeah, he's on the rotation, man. He's bound to land the team sooner.
Yeah, well, it's you don't get another punch when you go to a team twice. You do understand that, right?
Yeah, but he didn't leave. He wasn't sacked. He left because of the national team.
Now, do you get 2 punches on your sandwich card for the national team, or?
I don't know, but I'd say, man, there was some noise because some people were upset that Romano got the job over La Volpe.
Volpe was in the running. Back at Atlas, and he's a TV Azteca guy. He seemed like it was a match made in heaven.
Yeah, some fans are still, they still rate him highly. Especially, and if you compare him to Romano, that more people are obviously going to choose La Volpe.
Right. Well, it's probably now that everyone else has left us, probably a good time for us to wrap it up. But we did have a great podcast that we had. Jotistan from Pancho Villa's Army joined us in the first half hour, and then Daniel Forresty joined us the top of the second hour here on the podcast, talking about the friendly in San Antonio next week, and Pancho Villa's Army's prep for that, and as well, and then Daniel talked to us about USSF. So we really, for joining us on our show, we really appreciate their thoughts and insights, and soon able to stick around long enough to listen to our podcast here on the CantinaMX Podcast. We do appreciate that. For all the folks that are on our show, when I say we really do appreciate y'all's likes on the Facebook and on our chat here. So thank you guys for that as well, and thank you, Joel, for joining us. Joel.
Oh, it sounded like it cut off. But
thank you very much for joining us.
Yes, John. Always a pleasure to be on the show.
And next week we'll have another big show. We'll have the friendly that we'll do next week between Mexico and Bosnia Herzegovina, and of course talking Liga MX.
And remind our 5 listeners, we're thinking of Sunday and Thursday.
That's right. We are knocking around, doing a little test market of doing Sunday night shows. I think we'll do very well, Joel. I think the Sunday night show would be
yes.
If not a Sunday night show, then a Monday morning drive to work listen on your phone. So give you something else to. But we do appreciate y'all listening here tonight on the live on YouTube. And of course, you can download this in our previous editions of the CantinaMX Podcast at the Podcast Center on iTunes, as well as in Google Play. My name is John Jagu. We appreciate y'all, and we'll talk to you guys again next week.